You don't require a sudden jolt of lightning. What you truly need is a steady, persistent drip, a relentless commitment day after day. Triumph has never been about a single detonation. It is a recurring design. It is the ant bearing a load twice its size, not for a fleeting moment, but for as long as the journey demands. It is the farmer who sows seeds in the spring and does not debate the turning of the seasons. It is the quiet, dedicated individual who arrives on the most difficult day and honors the commitment that no one else witnesses. The majority of people drastically overestimate their capacity in a single day and profoundly underestimate what they can accomplish over a year of unwavering persistence. This video is your foundational plan. No exaggerated claims, no bypasses, only structured methods, incremental gains, and the power of time working to your advantage. You will discover how to establish daily practices that endure through low moods, packed calendars, and a complete absence of inspiration. How to align with life's natural rhythms instead of resisting them. How to pay the initial cost of excellence a single time and receive rewards for a lifetime. And how to clearly distinguish profound work from genuine rest so that both become truly effective. If you have been delaying for the ideal circumstance, that moment is here now. Not because this day is extraordinary, but because you choose to make it so. One page, one conversation, one repetition, one segment of concentrated effort, repeated. Allow the compound effect to perform its timeless function. Steadiness first, outcomes will follow. Let's start. Most individuals wait for inspiration to strike. Accomplished people do not. They take action first and allow motivation to arrive afterwards. This is the reality. Motivation resembles a spark. It generates excitement, but it extinguishes rapidly. Consistency is the engine that continues to operate long after that spark has faded. If you desire authentic advancement, do not construct your existence around fleeting emotions. Build it upon routines that function even when you lack the desire. Consider that small ant transporting nourishment larger than itself. It does not awaken feeling motivated. It does not delay for perfect conditions. It simply advances one step after another. That is the genuine appearance of success in everyday life. Slow, methodical, and frequently monotonous. But over time, that seemingly dull repetition transforms into formidable strength. Your brain learns through recurrence. Each time you repeat a behavior, your brain etches the pathway a little deeper. In time, it becomes an automatic function. This is why the most challenging instant is invariably the initial one. Once you begin, momentum assumes control. Let's construct a new daily framework, one that eliminates the requirement for motivational feelings. The trio of daily victories. Each day, concentrate on 3 straightforward triumphs. Not 20, not 10, merely 3. These are your non-negotiable actions that ensure you continue to progress, even on challenging days. First victory, acquire knowledge. Read several pages from a substantive book or listen to content that sharpens your intellect. Nourish your mind with information that enhances your capabilities. Second victory, construct something. Dedicate a brief, focused interval, even just 30 minutes, to labor on one significant objective. Eliminate all interruptions. Grant that task your undivided attention. Third victory, activate your body. Engage in a physical activity. Walk, stretch, exercise, breathe deeply. It does not need to be intense. Physical motion sustains your vitality, and energy is the fuel for self-discipline. 3 victories. Learn, build, move. Execute these every single day, regardless of how minor they seem, and you will surpass 99% of people who are perpetually waiting for the opportune moment. Why is this method effective? It works due to its simplicity. The actions are sufficiently small that your mind cannot rationalize avoiding them, and they accumulate, similar to interest in a savings account. A few pages each day evolve into dozens of books annually. 30 minutes of focused work daily becomes hundreds of hours of advancement. A few minutes of physical activity result in a stronger, sharper, more resilient physique. Minor actions do not appear impactful in the moment, but when you repeat them consistently over a long period, they become an unstoppable force. Systems triumph over emotions. Motivation declares, "I will do it when I feel prepared." Consistency states, "I will do it because it is on the agenda." The simplest method to succeed is to eliminate obstacles before they materialize. Place your book where you will notice it. Organize your work area the previous evening. Position your shoes by the entrance. You eliminate the need for decision-making. You simply initiate. When your surroundings reinforce your routines, you conserve mental energy on choices. You merely execute. The 2-minute principle. If a task feels too daunting to start, minimize its scope. Read for 2 minutes. Write a single sentence. Perform one push-up. Once you commence, momentum typically propels you forward. But even if you halt, you have preserved your self-identity as someone who follows through. That is the most critical element. The tale of the writers. I once knew 2 authors with an identical aspiration. The first one waited for a flash of inspiration. Weeks elapsed, then months. The second writer composed one single page every day. By the year's end, the first writer possessed brilliant ideas but no tangible outcome. The second writer had a completed manuscript. The distinction was not innate ability. It was steadfastness. Monitor your advancement each day. Take 10 seconds to log your 3 victories. Did you learn something? Did you build something? Did you move your body? That is all. Merely mark the boxes. This generates forward momentum. Missing a single day does not constitute failure. Simply avoid missing 2 consecutive days. Steer clear of these pitfalls. Do not promise yourself that you will compensate tomorrow. You cannot double down on consistency later. Do not strive for flawless execution. Accomplish what you can and continue progressing. Do not pursue an excessive number of objectives simultaneously. Concentrate on one primary direction until it becomes almost effortless. Begin with modest steps. Maintain your steadiness starting now. Select one subject to learn tomorrow, one project to advance, and one method to activate your body. Schedule the time. Prepare your resources. Make initiation simple. Because here is the concealed truth. You do not ascend to the height of your ambitions. You descend to the level of your systems. Goals provide your direction. Consistency transports you to the destination. Some days you will feel powerful. Some days you will feel burdened. Approach both types of days identically. Show up. Win the minor battles. Success is not about intensity. It is about continuity. Do not seek perfect days. Construct perfect habits. You do not require a fresh surge of motivation. You need a routine that operates even when motivation vanishes. Consistency first. Results will follow. Everyone desires achievement. Few are prepared to repeat the small, unglamorous actions that generate it. Most people live according to their fluctuating feelings. But the reality is straightforward. If you only act when you are in the mood, your life will remain precisely where it is. Self-discipline is what distinguishes the visionaries from the executors. Desire is an emotion. Discipline is a structure, and structure invariably prevails. You see, emotions are unreliable. They surge and recede like ocean waves. Discipline is the vessel that remains stable. Regardless of how turbulent the waters become, you do not need to eliminate your emotions. You simply need to cease allowing them to dictate your course. When you are weary, discipline reminds you of your initial purpose. When you lack inspiration, discipline moves your feet regardless. When others are resting, discipline whispers, "Continue." That is the voice that alters everything. First, cease waiting for the correct emotion. Most people delay action until they feel motivated. Successful individuals invert this sequence. They take action to generate motivation. Consider physical training. You do not feel like exercising until you are already in motion. You do not feel inspired to write until you have already typed a few lines. The energy you seek is concealed on the far side of exertion. So, stop waiting for the right mood. Initiate the motion. You do not need to feel prepared. You merely need to start. Discipline is a pledge you make to yourself. When you break promises to others, you lose their trust. When you break promises to yourself, you lose confidence in your own capacity. Each time you tell yourself you will accomplish something, and then fail to follow through, your subconscious mind learns one lesson: my words are insignificant. That conviction halts progress. Discipline reconstructs that trust. Every time you keep a commitment, even a minor one like waking on schedule or finishing a small task, you demonstrate to yourself that your word carries substance. The objective is not flawlessness. The objective is integrity with your own being. If you declare you will do it, then do it. Even if it is minor, particularly when it is minor, because small promises honored lead to immense self-assurance. Third, establish rituals, not merely objectives. Goals are final outcomes. Rituals are repeated behaviors, and behaviors consistently defeat outcomes. Instead of stating, "I want to read 30 books this year," declare, "I will read 10 pages every morning." Instead of stating, "I want to be fit," declare, "I will move my body for 15 minutes daily." You cannot always control the end results, but you can always control the repetitions. Rituals generate rhythm, and rhythm generates momentum. Visualize a drummer in a musical group. He does not play one loud beat and then cease. He maintains the tempo steady and powerful. The music emanates from that rhythm. That is how consistency functions. You discover your daily rhythm, and you do not interrupt it. Fourth, how to cultivate discipline. Authentic discipline does not originate from punishment. It originates from purpose. You cannot compel yourself indefinitely through sheer willpower alone. You must connect your actions to a more significant reason. Inquire of yourself, why is this important? Why does it matter that I rise early, that I read, that I work, that I train? When your underlying reason is powerful, the routine feels less burdensome. You cease asking, "How long will this require?" and begin stating, "For as long as it is necessary." Therefore, before you build habits, establish meaning. Remind yourself daily, this is not merely discipline, it is destiny. Fifth, the power of minor non-negotiable actions. Discipline does not have to be arduous. It simply must be consistent. Select 2 or 3 daily non-negotiable actions that you perform no matter the circumstances, even on your most challenging day. These are your anchors. It could be making your bed immediately upon waking, reading for 5 minutes, writing 1 sentence toward your goal, exercising for 10 minutes. These seem insignificant, but they construct psychological fortitude. They communicate to your brain, "I am in command." And once your mind accepts that, everything transforms. Sixth, discipline liberates you from decision fatigue. The more choices you make, the more your willpower depletes. This is why most people experience burnout, not because they are weak, but because they expend energy making repeated decisions. Discipline eliminates the choice. You do not ponder, "Should I work out today?" You simply execute. You do not ponder, "Should I read?" You pick up the book. When you remove the internal debate, you remove the postponement. This is how disciplined individuals simplify life. Not necessarily easy, but simple. Seventh, the magic of momentum. Momentum is initially invisible. You will not perceive it after 1 day or even 1 week, but if you persist, the same actions that once felt heavy begin to feel natural. The crucial point is to never halt long enough for the momentum to dissipate. If you miss 1 day, recommence immediately. You do not need to penalize yourself for missing. You simply need to return to your pattern. Every day you act, you feed the flame. Every day you skip, you allow it to cool. Your responsibility is to maintain a steady burn, not a perfect one. Discipline is not a prison. It is liberation. It enables you to take command of your life instead of being commanded by your moods. The truth is simple: freedom arrives after discipline, not before it. When you master discipline, your habits take over. Your habits build consistency, and consistency makes success inevitable. You do not require more powerful emotions. You require more powerful follow-through. The world rewards the individual who shows up even on ordinary days, even when no one is observing. So show up today. Do what you declared you would do, and allow the power of discipline to carry you one step closer to your destiny. Consistency first, results will follow. If you intend to construct a skyscraper, you do not commence with the windows, you begin with the foundation. The identical principle applies to success. Consistency cannot survive on willpower alone. It stands upon four unshakable pillars that support the entire structure: personal development, philosophy, habits, and time. You cannot hasten success any more than you can hasten a harvest. You prepare the soil, plant the seeds, and protect the process. These four pillars constitute that process. When you strengthen them, success becomes predictable rather than accidental. First, personal development, evolving into the person who merits success. The initial pillar is you. You are the root system that nourishes every outcome in your life. Do not wish for circumstances to be easier. Wish for yourself to be more capable. Do not wish for fewer problems. Wish for greater skills. Your income, your influence, and your inner peace can never surpass who you are internally. This is why every journey begins with personal growth. Labor more diligently on yourself than you do on your occupation, because your job can provide you a living, but working on yourself can grant you a fortune in every sense of the term. Begin each day by nourishing your mind before you nourish your body. Read, listen, reflect. A single concept can enhance the quality of your entire future. Growth does not always feel thrilling. Some days it feels uncomfortable, like stretching muscles you have not used for years. But that is how latent potential transforms into actual power. Second, philosophy, the lens through which you perceive life. Your personal philosophy shapes your entire world. It is not about how situations are. It is about how you interpret them. Two individuals can encounter the identical circumstance and experience two entirely different realities. One states, "Life is unjust." The other states, "Life is instructing me." One states, "No one here wears shoes." The other states, "No one here has shoes yet." The distinction is not the opportunity. It is the perspective. The majority of people possess a philosophy of blame. They direct fingers at the economy, the government, the weather, their employer, their upbringing, anything external to themselves. But that mindset renders them powerless. Winners adopt a philosophy of responsibility. They declare, "If it is to be, it is up to me." They cannot control every event that occurs, but they can control their response. Your philosophy determines your direction long before your actions do. You cannot act like a winner if you think like a victim. Therefore, select a philosophy that empowers you, one that reminds you that every challenge contains a lesson and every obstacle contains an opportunity. Third, habits, the minor actions that construct great lives. Habits are invisible architecture. You do not notice them, but they shape everything. Positive habits are challenging to establish, but easy to live with. Negative habits are easy to establish, but difficult to live with. That is the eternal trade-off. You do not require massive breakthroughs. You require small daily disciplines, repeated until they become your identity. Wake up, read a few pages, take notes, review your goals, plan your day, protect your priorities. These are not glamorous tasks, but they are the bricks that build your future. I have read every morning for decades. Just 1 hour of personal study each day. That does not seem substantial. But over time, it accumulated into thousands of hours of compounded wisdom. Most people underestimate the power of small habits because they cannot perceive immediate outcomes. But that is analogous to planting a seed and becoming angry that it has not sprouted by the next day. Allow it time. Continue watering. The roots are developing even when you cannot see them. Fourth, time the universal equalizer. Time is the most democratic resource on earth. Everyone receives the same 24 hours. The difference resides in how you utilize them. Unsuccessful people expend their time. Average people manage their time. Successful people invest their time. When you spend time, it is gone permanently. When you manage time, you survive. When you invest time, it multiplies. You cannot save time. You can only spend it or invest it every single day. Ask yourself, is my current activity an investment or an expense? The greatest investment you will ever make is in yourself. Read, learn, exercise, build. Every hour you invest in personal growth compounds into confidence, clarity, and success. Time does not provide refunds. This is why consistency matters, because every squandered day carries an invisible cost, and every disciplined day pays lifelong interest. Integrating all elements. Personal development is who you are. Philosophy is how you think. Habits are what you do. Time is the currency you exchange for all of it. If you neglect any one of these pillars, your structure becomes unstable. But when you strengthen all four, consistency becomes automatic because your identity, mindset, actions, and schedule all function in harmony. You cease chasing success. You begin to attract it. Every great life is constructed, not discovered. You build it by improving yourself, selecting empowering thoughts, repeating the correct actions, and respecting your time. The magic is not in executing everything perfectly. It is in showing up consistently on these four fronts: mind, philosophy, behavior, and time. Continue this long enough, and success will have no alternative but to move toward you. Consistency first, results will follow. Success rarely occurs in one grand moment. It is not one fortunate break, one viral opportunity, or one enormous leap forward. It is the quiet, invisible power of performing the small actions correctly, again and again, until the world can no longer disregard the outcomes. That is the compound effect, the identical force that grows your savings when you invest a little money daily is the same force that grows your character, your skills, and your success when you invest consistent effort. You do not need to accomplish everything today. You simply need to accomplish something today and continue doing it. First, the concealed power of minor decisions. Every choice you make accumulates. Consume one unhealthy meal, no significant consequence. Skip one workout, no one observes. Delay one important task, it feels harmless. But repeat that pattern for a month and the consequences become visible. The same holds true for positive actions. Reading 10 pages, saving a few dollars, taking one walk. Individually, they seem minor. But repeated daily, they create a new reality. The compound effect functions in both directions. It compounds success or it compounds failure. The question is never, does it work? The question is, in which direction is it working for you? Every minor decision is a deposit into, or a withdrawal from, your future. Second, concentrate on the process, not the payoff. Most people quit because they cannot perceive instant results. They commence with intensity, but when progress feels slow, they surrender. What they fail to realize is that the compound effect requires time to manifest its magic. It is analogous to planting a bamboo seed. For years, nothing occurs above the ground. You water, you nurture, and you see nothing. Then, suddenly, in one season, it shoots up numerous feet almost overnight. But it did not genuinely happen overnight. It was developing roots the entire time. That is what your effort is accomplishing right now, even when you cannot see it. The key is to cease measuring daily progress by visible outcomes. Measure it by your consistency. If you are consistent, growth is guaranteed. It simply has not revealed itself yet. Third, establish habits that multiply over time. Small habits are not merely tasks, they are investments. When repeated, they begin yielding returns independently. Read for 10 minutes daily, and you will soon think differently. Plan your day before it starts, and your productivity doubles. Reflect every evening, and your self-awareness expands. That is the beauty of the compound effect. It rewards patience and penalizes inconsistency. And here is the truth: most people do not fail because they are incapable. They fail because they abandon the effort too soon to witness the payoff. They cease watering the seed immediately before it sprouts. Fourth, the rule of slight edges. You do not require massive changes. You merely require small, consistent improvements. 1% better each day may not sound substantial, but after 1 year, that is 37 times better. Not 37%, 37 times. This is how the world's top performers operate. They do not pursue dramatic transformation. They pursue daily evolution. While everyone else is swinging for home runs, they are perfecting their swing. One practice, one repetition, one quiet enhancement at a time. Remember this: the distinction between average and extraordinary is usually invisible at the beginning, but over time, that slight edge becomes an unbridgeable gap. Fifth, how to activate the compound effect. Here is how to implement this principle for yourself, starting today. Step 1, identify your keystone habit. This is the one behavior that enhances everything else. It might be waking early, journaling, exercising, or reading daily. Select one and construct your routine around it. Step 2, monitor your progress. What gets measured grows. Use a simple notebook or application. Mark an X for every day you complete the action. Do not break the chain. Step 3, celebrate consistency, not completion. Do not wait for huge milestones to feel proud. Feel proud each time you follow through. Every repetition is evidence that you are becoming the person who does not quit. Step 4, be patient. Outcomes will lag behind effort. That is normal. The initial few weeks of compounding always feel as though nothing is occurring. Then everything occurs simultaneously. Sixth, the compound effect and character. This law does not merely build achievements, it builds identity. Every small, disciplined action informs your brain. This is who I am now. And once your identity shifts, your behavior follows naturally. You do not compel yourself to act successful. You act like yourself, and that version of you simply happens to be successful. This is why the compound effect becomes unstoppable once it begins functioning in your favor. Because it starts reprogramming who you believe you are. You transition from attempting to be disciplined to simply being disciplined. Success is never one giant leap. It is a staircase constructed one step, one habit, one day at a time. The secret is to continue climbing when the summit remains out of sight. Every small step compounds. Every repetition counts. You do not need to pursue large wins. You simply need to cease quitting on the small ones. That is the difference between those who wish for success and those who construct it. Consistency compounds. Patience multiplies it. Consistency first. Results will follow. Everything in life progresses through seasons. Nature possesses 4: spring, summer, autumn, and winter. Success possesses 2. Each season serves a purpose. Each season demands something distinct from you. The individuals who struggle the most are those who attempt to plant during winter or rest during spring. They anticipate a harvest without planting, or they surrender immediately before their fruit appears. But the wise understand how to interpret their season and act accordingly. If you desire consistency that endures, you must comprehend your current position and honor the process. First, The season of planting spring. Spring is the season of beginnings. This is when you initiate something new, a goal, a business, a new version of yourself. Planting season is filled with energy and enthusiasm. You feel inspired, hopeful, and prepared for change. But it is also the period that demands faith. Because when you plant a seed, you do not see results instantly. You will invest effort into endeavors that appear invisible for a time. You will question yourself. You will wonder if anything is functioning. That is normal. Your sole responsibility in spring is to plant generously ideas, effort, habits, learning. Do not concern yourself with the speed of growth. Concern yourself with the depth of the roots. Those who plant more in spring will have more to harvest later. Second, the season of growth, summer. Summer is when your labor begins to exhibit indications of life. Your ideas start to sprout. Opportunities begin to materialize. Momentum builds. But here is the peril: summer also introduces weeds. The moment you start growing, distractions and doubts emerge. You will encounter resistance from external sources and from within yourself. Your responsibility during summer is protection. Protect your focus. Protect your mind. Do not allow comparison, criticism, or comfort to destroy your progress. Many individuals undermine their growth by relaxing prematurely. Summer is the time to work intelligently, to intensify your efforts, to remain vigilant, because growth attracts both sunshine and storms. Third, the season of harvest, autumn. Autumn is the season of reward. This is when your efforts finally yield returns. You begin to witness the outcomes of the months you invested. You will feel proud. You will feel grateful. And yes, you should celebrate, but not for an excessive duration. The most significant error people commit during harvest is arrogance. They believe the work is complete, but harvest does not last forever. It is a window, a brief season to gather the fruit and prepare for the next phase. When life rewards you, utilize that energy wisely. Reinforce your systems. Strengthen your discipline. Do not expend all your reward. Reinvest a portion back into your growth. The individuals who remain successful are those who treat success not as a conclusion, but as fuel for the next beginning. Fourth, the season of reflection, winter. Winter feels cold, quiet, and still. This is the season of tests. You may lose motivation. Results may decelerate and life may seem unfair. But winter is not punishment. It is preparation. This is when your character develops deeper roots. When you learn to persevere without applause. Everyone encounters winters, in business, in health, in relationships, in purpose. The distinction between those who survive and those who collapse is mindset. If you perceive winter as the end, you will quit. If you perceive winter as training, you will emerge stronger. Winter reminds you that consistency is not about always feeling good. It is about remaining committed even when nothing appears promising. Utilize this time to reflect, reset, and rebuild, because after every winter, spring invariably returns. The eternal law: plant with faith in spring, protect with diligence in summer, harvest with gratitude in autumn, reflect with strength in winter. If you respect the seasons, success becomes a cycle, not a struggle. Consistency signifies moving in harmony with life's rhythm, not against it. The ones who win are not the fastest or the luckiest. They are the ones who remain patient, who continue laboring through every season until the reward becomes inevitable. Consistency first, results will follow. Every objective carries a price. Some pay it early through effort, discipline, and patience. Others attempt to evade the cost, only to pay it later in regret, stress, and wasted years. Excellence is never free. The only question is when and how you will pay for it. The reality is, the easy path becomes difficult later, and the difficult path becomes easy later. You either endure the pain of discipline now, or the pain of disappointment later. But you cannot escape both. Winners comprehend this law. This is why they pay in advance. First, the down payment of effort. Before you witness results, you must make a deposit. You cannot withdraw what you have not invested. The athlete trains before winning the medal. The entrepreneur works before generating revenue. The student studies before earning the degree. Effort is the down payment on success. You do not have to be the most gifted. You simply must continue showing up while others quit. That is the price: showing up when it is tedious, remaining focused when it is lonely, and pushing forward when no one is observing. Every repetition, every late night, every moment of self-control, those are your installments toward mastery. Second, the illusion of the shortcut. The world adores shortcuts. Rapid results, overnight success, fast money. But shortcuts always exact a higher cost in the long term. The individual who bypasses the hard work does not genuinely avoid it. They merely postpone it. They borrow comfort now, but they will pay interest later. Consider it analogous to credit. You can enjoy pleasure now and bear the pain later. Or you can accept the pain now and enjoy freedom for years to come. Authentic success does not occur overnight because character does not develop overnight. You require time to build the mindset sufficiently robust to handle what you are requesting. If you acquire it too soon, you will lose it just as rapidly. Third, the genuine price of discipline. Discipline is expensive. It costs comfort. But comfort is even more expensive. It costs dreams. Every time you select comfort, you exchange your potential for temporary relief. Every time you select discipline, you exchange short-term pain for long-term power. Reflect on it. Waking early costs a little sleep. Training costs a little energy. Saying no costs a little pleasure. But missing opportunities because you were unprepared, that costs everything. You cannot possess both freedom and laziness. One invariably destroys the other. Fourth, the cost of greatness is paid daily. You cannot pay for success once and be finished. It is not a one-time transaction. It is a daily subscription. Every day, life poses the same question. How profoundly do you desire it today? And your actions provide the answer. Some days the cost is high. Perhaps it is waking early, taking a risk, confronting rejection, or maintaining discipline when you are exhausted. Other days, it is minor: remaining kind, remaining focused, remaining grateful. But the payment never ceases. And that is the essential point. Excellence is not about reaching one grand moment. It is about paying the minor price every single day until excellence becomes your identity. Fifth, the reward that endures. The beauty of paying the price now is that it compounds. The pain diminishes, but the strength remains. The sacrifice vanishes, but the skill persists. When others lament how difficult life is, you will smile because you have already constructed endurance. You have already paid your dues. There is peace in knowing you have earned your success. No guilt, no shortcuts, no luck. Solely evidence. The universe rewards those who pay with effort, integrity, and consistency. And the sooner you pay, the longer you enjoy the rewards. The price of success is not money. It is commitment. The sooner you pay it, the sooner you live free. Every morning, inquire of yourself, what price am I willing to pay today for the life I desire tomorrow? Then pay it with pride. Because nothing of value is ever free, and everything you want is waiting on the opposite side of what you are willing to endure. Consistency first, results will follow. Every individual who has ever achieved greatness encountered resistance. Not once, not twice, but constantly. The path to success is not a straight line. It is filled with walls, detours, and delays. But here is the secret most people never learn. Those walls are not obstructing your path. They are your path. The obstacle is not something to evade. It is something to utilize. First, the mindset shift that alters everything. When something becomes difficult, most people halt and declare, perhaps it is not meant to be. But the truth is the opposite. If it is difficult, it is meant to be, because that difficulty is what molds you into the person capable of handling what you are requesting. You cannot request strength and then avoid the weight. You cannot pray for growth and then curse the struggle. Growth demands pressure. That is how diamonds form, deep under heat, not in comfort. Once you comprehend that obstacles are training instruments, not punishments, everything transforms. You cease fleeing from problems and commence learning from them. Second, every obstacle contains a gift. Each challenge carries something. You require a lesson, a new skill, a deeper level of resilience. But to receive that gift, you must confront the challenge completely. The obstacle might reveal your weakness. That is beneficial. It shows you precisely what requires strengthening. The obstacle might decelerate your progress. That is also beneficial. It compels you to refine your strategy. Sometimes the obstacle even redirects you towards something superior, something you could not perceive previously. Nothing you encounter is wasted. Every difficulty is preparing you for your destiny. Third, the four-step formula to transform resistance into progress. Utilize this straightforward system. Observe, simplify, execute, review. Step 1, observe. Cease reacting emotionally. Step back and examine the situation objectively. Inquire, what is genuinely occurring here? Most suffering originates from exaggeration, not reality. Step 2, simplify. Deconstruct the challenge into smaller components. Large problems feel insurmountable. Small ones are manageable. Concentrate solely on the subsequent step, not the entire mountain. Step 3, execute. Any action. Clarity emerges through movement. When you move, the path begins to reveal itself. Step 4, review. After every setback, ask, what did this instruct me? Then modify your approach. Failure only becomes permanent when you refuse to reflect. Implement this process every time you encounter a wall. It converts resistance into progress and confusion into strategy. Fourth, the weight room of life. Imagine entering a gym for the first time. The weights are heavy. Your muscles ache. You could complain and quit. Or you could comprehend that the resistance is the entire purpose. Each repetition makes you stronger. Each drop of sweat builds endurance. Life operates identically. Every obstacle is a workout for your spirit. The more you lift, the more robust you become. Not merely physically, but mentally and emotionally. This is why evading struggle perpetuates weakness. Every time you flee from difficulty, you deprive yourself of the strength it was attempting to provide. Fifth, how successful people perceive problems. Ordinary individuals view problems as punishment. Successful individuals view them as preparation. They do not ask, why me? They ask, what can I learn from this? They understand that adversity introduces a person to themselves. You cannot know how strong you are until strength is your only option. Winners do not wish for an easier path. They cultivate stronger legs to traverse it. Sixth, the reward concealed behind the resistance. On the opposite side of every obstacle lies expansion. You will think differently, act differently, and believe differently. The challenge was never intended to halt you. It was intended to sharpen you. You are being refined, not punished, strengthened, not broken. Every time you overcome something, your self-image upgrades. You cease perceiving yourself as someone attempting to win and begin perceiving yourself as someone who cannot lose. That shift is everything. Do not fear the obstacles in your path. They are the path. They are not proof that you are failing. They are proof that you are in motion. Every wall you scale makes you stronger. Every setback instructs strategy. And every storm builds faith. So, when resistance reappears, smile. You are precisely where you are supposed to be. The path of least resistance creates the weakest people. The path of greatest resistance creates the strongest leaders. Consistency first, results will follow. Success, similar to nature, progresses through seasons. There is a time to plant, a time to water, a time to wait, and a time to harvest. But most people fail because they confuse the seasons. They plant in winter or they surrender in spring immediately before the soil begins to bloom. When you comprehend that life functions in cycles, not chaos, patience becomes your superpower. First, you cannot hasten a harvest. Consider a farmer. He does not toss seeds into the ground and excavate them the following morning to see if they have grown. He trusts the process. He knows that growth occurs in silence beneath the surface, where no one can observe. Most people sabotage their own success because they cannot tolerate waiting. They panic during the invisible phase, the period when effort has not yet transformed into results. But that phase is sacred. It is the time when roots are forming. The harvest arrives solely for those who continue watering when no one else is watching. Second, the 4 seasons of success. Every dream must traverse 4 seasons: winter, spring, summer, and fall. Winter is preparation. It is cold, dark, and quiet. This is where you plan, study, and fortify your mindset while others slumber. Most quit in this season because they misinterpret silence for failure. But the wise understand that winter is where strength is born. Spring is planting. It is filled with energy, creativity, and new beginnings. You are building habits, establishing goals, laying foundations. The soil is fertile, but only for those who act swiftly and decisively. Summer is protection. The heat intensifies, distractions emerge, doubts whisper. This is when you defend your progress by remaining focused, disciplined, and consistent. Fall is harvest. This is when the results finally manifest. But only those who remained faithful in the earlier seasons get to savor the reward. Every success story you have ever admired was constructed by someone who honored these seasons. Third, the peril of skipping seasons. Most people desire spring and fall, excitement and reward, without enduring winter and summer. But if you bypass winter, you will lack preparation. And if you avoid summer, you lose your crops to the weeds of distraction. Growth demands full participation in every stage. Each season contains its lessons, and omitting one only postpones your progress. Patience is not passive, it is potent. It is not about inaction. It is about performing the correct action at the correct time. Fourth, how to master time like the wealthy. Successful people think differently about time. They do not perceive time as something to eliminate. They perceive it as something to cultivate. They know that every hour is a seed. Some seeds grow instantly. Others require years, but they plant them regardless. When average individuals state, "I will commence when I am ready," the successful state, "I will commence now and become ready along the journey." They comprehend that waiting for the perfect moment is the perfect excuse. The right time never arrives. It is created by consistent action. Fifth, the law of compounding effort. Everything compounds, both your positive habits and your negative ones. Missing one day of discipline does not destroy you, but repeating that omission daily will. Similarly, reading one page will not transform your life, but reading one page every day for years will. It is not about accomplishing a vast amount once. It is about accomplishing a small amount consistently. That is how compounding operates, quietly, invisibly, powerfully. Remember this truth: success is never constructed in one giant leap. It is constructed in millions of small, consistent steps taken during every season, even the ones no one witnesses. Sixth, trust the process. You cannot control when your harvest arrives, but you can control your habits while